Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Thursday night. It's not Thursday, it's Wednesday. I'm all mixed up. My time zones are wonky. I know that I have to be on a flight at 7 a.m. to London town tomorrow, though. And so we are looking forward to making the trip abroad to cover this Titans game. We'll, of course, have coverage for you from London once I arrive on Friday. Be doing the radio show over there. And it'll be a great time. Bert is going to be stuck doing primetime, apparently. It'll just be a different kind of a primetime, unfortunately for him, based on the emails that I've received today. You and Sam Thalen, enjoy yourself on Sunday evening, bud. BF says, you're effed up, Buck. I wish. That would probably make for a more interesting primetime show. But in the interest of continuing to keep the train on the tracks as best we can, we try to do the primetime show with a clear and sober mind. Meanwhile, we got to talk matchups tonight. Greg Cosell, we did the podcast today. You're going to get some Greg analysis on how the Titans and Ravens can square off against one another. We'll also talk about the progress of Lamar Jackson. He has done well within this new Ravens offense, and it is worth diving into. We'll do a little rising and falling at the end of the show. We always appreciate your guys' participation, and we're looking forward to having another fun primetime episode tonight. BF said it really would. I'd prefer you a little intoxicated. Well, I prefer to be employed, and I feel like intoxicated me on a live stream with no guardrails would be ill-advised. But perhaps on the if A to Z decides that they are no longer interested in my services, perhaps they'll let me run this thing into the ground on the way out the door. I doubt it. I love Zach. I don't think Zach would afford me that luxury, though. That would be fun, I guess, in some form or fashion. Who's to say? Either way, we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. Need you guys to share the broadcast around, if you would, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, wherever you are spending your evening with us. If you're hanging out on Twitter, please retweet the show, bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Facebook Live, you can share not a public. That's in the bottom left. If you are on YouTube or on Twitch, who we got on YouTube? We got Stephen King, Ben Hall, Ryan Fields. You can like the video. You can subscribe to the channel, and you can make sure that all of your friends do the same. We would be grateful for you that way. Danny's ahead of the program. He said, already shared, my guy. My dude knows the protocol. So with that, once you all fall in line and do the exact same, more of you guys will stream on in here as we get going, and we can keep you updated throughout the course of your postseason baseball experience as we watch a little ALDS action together. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Zen Sports Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising, if you are new to the show, and I am proud, as always, to be presented to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Wherever justice demands, Amanda J. and her team have your constitutional rights covered. Go to amandajgentry.com for more information today. Zen Sports, where you plug in the promo code ATOZTN and get unlimited 5% cash back for your first 15 days of wagering. Zensports.com is the place to get in on the action. And True Math Fitness, where you go for the best workout in Middle Tennessee. Nobody will put you in position to succeed on your fitness goals the way that True Math Fitness in the Gulch will. TrueMathFitness.com for that first workout free, as I mentioned. So, Titans are leaving for London after I'm leaving for London, ironically enough, for talking about logistics. I'm leaving tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Titans won't be in the air until later tomorrow night. But in the meantime, while we all make our way over to to Great Britain, which will always enjoy the trip to London. I've done it 6 or 7 times at this point in my life. This will be my second time in a professional capacity going to cover an NFL game. And, London's just such a cool city. Need more than a day really to explore. So we'll have a little opportunity to do that once I get over there and get settled on Friday. But it is going to be a great time regardless, because London, the people are phenomenal. The culture is fantastic. The history is even better. And certainly they love their sports. I'm fired up to go to an England-Australia football match, not an American football match, but a football match. It's going to be a great time. BF says, let's hear your London accent, Buck. You know, one, it's English accent, is how they would correct you. And two, I think if I did the English accent, I would sound even more pretentious than I already do. Fun fact for those of you who are unfamiliar, I actually went to a British international school when we lived in Cairo. So I did have a British accent for a period of my life spanning from about kindergarten through the third grade. Somewhere those tapes are out there. You'll never find them because hopefully they have been burned or sent into the ether. But yes, I did go to a British international school while we lived in Egypt, which is probably why I'm such a stickler for grammar. Either way, we got a lot of football related things to talk about, and we will do so together. So as we talk about the matchup itself, we know that the Titans are in a pretty critical situation. They need to win this game. They're at the bottom of the division. Anthony Richardson's going to miss a month, if not more. The Colts, who are currently in the lead of the division, have a game this weekend against the Jags. They could certainly, the Titans could certainly afford for Jacksonville to overtake Indianapolis in that and try and knock the Colts down a peg. You also have to try and get right against an AFC North opponent. You beat the Bengals. You lost to the Browns. Colts also still have to play the Browns, by the way, as we look for tiebreaker implications in the divisional situation. And as we look at the Titans and the Ravens, both are in I would say the Titans are in a more desperate place right now than the Ravens, but not by much. Baltimore needs this too, given that Joe Burrow appears to be rounding into form in the month of October, and a healthy Joe Burrow, of course, has problems for the AFC North. Given that the Ravens lost a game to the Steelers, a stinky Steelers team they had no business losing to, I think that Baltimore would be happy to get a conference win, having just lost a divisional win like you that was imminently gettable. But where do the Titans match up best with the Ravens? That's the question that I'm going to ask you tonight on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. It's your Two Rivers Ford take. As always, it is presented by the great people at Two Rivers Ford. I'm not driving to London, I'm flying, but you know that I drive around Nashville and anywhere that I need to get to in my Two Rivers Ford. I've got a 2022 Ford Explorer that I custom built at Two Rivers Ford because they do the custom order program. I have a different kind of a schedule. It wasn't going to allow me to get out to the dealership. I hit up my friends at Two Rivers Ford. I said, I need a new car, but I don't have time to come out and visit you. They said, okay, go through the Built For You program. I got to pick out the exact vehicle that I wanted, the color I wanted, with all the customizable accessories that I need in my vehicle day to day. And they delivered it right to my door. You don't have to do it the way that I did it, but you can shop however you want to, online, in person, or on demand at Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, or online at tworiversford.com. So where do the Titans match up best with the Ravens right now? Ben Hall says, could totally drive that to London. Honestly, I think the thing could cross. I'm convinced my Explorer could cross the Atlantic. I'm pretty sure it has a function to do so, but we will keep Sugar home side for the time being, just because I don't need the miles, if nothing else. And certainly I always enjoy the air miles that I get from our travel for Titans games. But meanwhile, where the Titans match up best with the Ravens right now? Mr. Jones says, is T.R. Tart back this week? He didn't practice today. Doesn't mean that he's out, but that's not a good sign, right, Jeff? And I'll read you the entirety of the injury report. We got a new one today that's probably worth going over because Treylon Burks and Jeffrey Simmons were also featured on said injury report. Missing today's practice for the Titans. Let us see. Treylon Burks, Luke Gifford, the special teams linebacker. Elijah Molden with a hamstring injury. That matters as we talk about the viability of them changing things up in the secondary. I don't think they do it if Molden can't go. Jeffrey Simmons, DNP, with a shoulder injury that he experienced against the Colts that rendered him pretty ineffective, honestly, though, when you go back and watch that game. And then T.R. Tart with that turf toe, still not practicing. Alshare, Brewer, Henry, and Hopkins were all limited. Henry and Hopkins specifically were given days off for rest. For the Ravens, just to look at their injury report since we're here, Clowney is apparently dealing with an illness. He is DNP, but he's over there. Remember that the Ravens are already in London. Odafe Owe, the pass rusher for them, ankle injury. Geno Stone, their safety, hamstring. Odell Beckham Jr. is limited with a hammy. Marlon Humphrey is limited with a foot. Patrick McCarry and Morgan Moses, two of their offensive linemen, limited. And Keaton Mitchell, the running back who has missed some time, was a full participant with a shoulder situation that he is working his way back from. Ryan Field says, is Dane going to be available? Dane Cruikshank? Potentially. They haven't specified. Well, I guess on Wednesday is too early to say. I don't know the answer to that question, Ryan. They probably don't either. They probably need to know who they have available at the end of the week, see how Dane gets through another week of practice, and then make that determination on Friday. So wouldn't necessarily be able to tell. They wouldn't be able to tell you today, so I'm not going to be able to tell you today. But he is available theoretically. It's just a matter of do they practice squad call him up? Do they put him in the lineup at some point, given that they're trying to shift some stuff around or thinking about shifting some stuff around in the secondary? So Cruikshank is healthy. He's available, but they haven't seen the need to move him, put him in there thus far. Mr. Jones wants them to move Hooker to corner and put Farley at safety. Again, Caleb Farley is not playing. He's on the physically unable to perform list until further notice. But where do the Titans match up best with the Ravens? Well, if you're to understand the Titans, you have to understand where the Titans are right now before we can talk about matchups. So I asked Greg Cosell, coming out of that Colts loss, what his evaluation of your local professional football team is. We will talk about it together right after I'll let you hear from Greg about it right after I remind you that the Primetime Show is presented by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Wherever justice demands, Amanda J. and her team are there to protect your constitutional rights. They have practiced in 35 counties in the state of Tennessee family and criminal courts. They are committed. They are passionate about making sure you have the adequate protections that are afforded to you in the Constitution. If you feel like your constitutional rights have been threatened, call Amanda J. Gentry or go online to amandajgentry.com. So this was Greg Cosell's evaluation of what he saw from the Titans in the loss to the Colts.
The number one issue in that game was the run game, clearly. I would not have expected that. Every once in a while, your really good players don't play well in a game. Jeffrey Simmons did not play well in this game. He was handled. And he was handled on a number of different kinds of blocks. He was handled one-on-one. He was handled with reach blocks. These are things you don't normally see. And my guess is he'd be the first to admit it. But they were handled up front. And the Colts had a really multiple and diverse run game with a lot of different concepts. And they were able to control the line of scrimmage. Now, and their game plan was clearly to run out of 11 personnel versus the Titans nickel defense, because he had 23 carries, okay? 17 of those came out of 11. And the only reason he didn't have more, Buck, is because at the end of the game, when they were essentially eating clock, is they lined up in 12 personnel. But clearly the game plan was, let's get the Titans in their nickel defense and let's run the ball. And Moss out of 11 personnel was 17 for 139. Even the 56-yard touchdown on 3rd and 1 came out of 11 personnel. So that just shows you their commitment to running out of 11. They obviously, in their mind, they saw something, because they didn't do that on a whim. They didn't, send around a hat to the coaching staff with, pieces of paper in it to say, oh, how should we run this week? They saw something on film that in their mind told them that, you know what, we need to run out of 11 personnel. We need to get them in their nickel, and we're going to feel pretty good. And I also don't think Al-Shaair and Gibbons had their best games either. So, guys you expect and who have played well up to this point, there's 17 games. Rarely does even a great player play at a high level in all 17 games. And unfortunately, that's what happened in this game.
So that was Greg Cosell's evaluation of the Titans from the Colts game. We'll react to that together, and we'll talk about where the advantage might lie right after I remind you that the Primetime Show is presented by Zen Sports. Download the Zen Sports app, plug in the promo code ATOZTN. Get unlimited 5% cash back on your first 15 days of wagering. Zen Sports offers you an offer unlike any other offer. When you download that app, get involved in postseason baseball, regular season football, college or pro. You've got basketball on the horizon. Hockey is back in our lives. ATOZTN terms and conditions do apply. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 or older in Tennessee to bet. So the advantages for the Titans right now. I think that when you look at what the Titans have to offer, Jeff and Tart's health is essential to what it is that they want to do. If the run defense is not going to be up to snuff for this game, that is going to directly impact the Titans' greatest advantage. It should be the run defense. It was not against the Colts. Now, the Colts looked to spread them out in particular. They had success that way. Greg pointed it out. It's something that the Colts identified, Shane Steichen identified in his game plan, in his preparation, and were having great success with it. Once they got the Titans out of their base defense and ran out of 3 wide receiver sets, there wasn't a lot that the Titans could do to stop them, and that showed. So looking to make sure that they are more sound fundamentally in their nickel defense, as Greg has just outlined. We know that the Ravens are going to show them multiple looks. We'll hear from Greg on Lamar Jackson, who is progressing significantly in this offense, an offense that is more advanced than the one he was running with Greg Roman and is really tapping more into what makes Lamar Jackson truly a singular talent in the NFL. So we'll hear from Greg on that here in just a second. The question that I want to ask you is this on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch in the comment section if you want to get involved. Who's the best quarterback through the first 5 weeks of football? Thursday night football tomorrow night is who is playing the Thursday night game? Let us see. The Broncos and the Chiefs. Okay, 1-4, 4-1 in Kansas City. One would expect the Broncos to win that game, barring any kind of ridiculous upset. But who the best quarterback might be in that game? Russell Wilson has had a sneaky good season. His football team is just particularly wretched. Who has been the best quarterback through the first 5 weeks? We'll talk about that together on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. Meanwhile, Devin Canfield must have seen my background in the Cosell thing. The thing says, Buck, you're a Bruce fan. Shout out from a New Jersey native, baby. We were born to run. That's right. It's something that all sports media apparently have in common, a deep, deep love of Bruce Springsteen. That is so beyond or from a generation that is way beyond me. But for whatever reason, somebody put on, I can't remember, at some point in high school, somebody played a Bruce Springsteen album for me. I was like, this guy is incredible. And then I went to see him live at Wrigley Field. And I said, this guy is incredible. And also he's like 75. And all of my favorite artists might be dead soon just because they're getting up in age. And that makes me sad. But Bruce Springsteen is still incredible, even though it's more of him grunting and screaming into a microphone than it is actual singing at this point. Easy or Ezzy wants to know, when am I leaving for London? I'm leaving tomorrow morning. So we will do a prime time from the airport tomorrow while I have a layover before my connecting flight from Boston to London. Jack Longley says, you did not say that the Broncos will win that game. I don't believe I said that the Broncos will win that game. I don't believe I said that at all. If I did, I misspoke. Either way, we are talking about who the best quarterback through the first 5 weeks is. Kind of kills, says Brock Purdy. Steve Kaiser agrees for Daniel. He also, I'm surprised that it's this one-sided, but it's hard to argue against. The correct answer is Brock Purdy, 100%. He is the most efficient. He is having the highest success rate. He is the best operationally within the system that he is asked to play. Brock Purdy has been the best quarterback through the first 5 weeks of football. But not that far behind him is Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson is playing in a new offense this year that they're still working out some of the kinks. Now, it's better to play teams like that early in the season, but as we get into week 6, Lamar has definitely found his stride. I would argue that Lamar, even though the stat line looked hideous coming out of that Steelers game and they only scored 10 points, I would argue that's the best performance of the quarterback position, the entire quarterback position that I've seen Lamar Jackson play, as you outlined. And that was the biggest question for me, Greg, not whether or not Lamar, I guess whether Lamar would adapt and continue to improve as a passer and as a player within structure, I should say. We know what Lamar is as a passer. We've talked about traits over and over again since he came out of Louisville. But to see him continue to improve and progress with this offense that's asking him to do more, I think, than Greg Roman was, certainly as a passer, has been pretty, just as an objective football fan, has been really cool to see.
You know, I spoke to a coach last Friday afternoon who knows Bobby Petrino well. And so obviously he knew when Petrino coached him at Louisville. And he said Petrino basically had him running an NFL offense with a lot of responsibility, and he handled it with no problem at all. And again, this is no knock on Greg Roman. This team was a playoff team for years. Lamar is as dynamic a runner at the position as we've ever seen. So you certainly don't want to take that away from him and say, don't run. But, you know, I think that the next step in the minds of many, right or wrong, is that let's really develop a structured pass game, because you know what? He's really not a bad passer. You know, he just looks different throwing a ball than a lot of quarterbacks. So the natural inclination is, oh, he's got a little bit of a kind of a funny delivery, but he can make throws. And, you know, I think he's seeing it really, really well. And I think that whenever you're in a new offense, that to me is sort of the first thing, is how you kind of master the different route concepts and how you're being asked to read those things based on what, you know, the defense, because just so people understand, quarterbacks are not reading 6-7 players, Buck. It's not humanly possible. You know, they start off with a very basic thing. Is it middle of the field open, middle of the field closed? You start there. And then based on your route concept and what's viewed as the primary and the secondary, you're just working off a few players. You know, you don't, you know, if you're working, you know, to trips, let's say it's 3-by-1, okay? And your primary read is to trips, to the 3 receiver side. What's happening on the backside with the corner, that's not even relevant to you. You don't need to understand, well, is that corner playing man technique or zone? It doesn't even matter. He's not relevant.
That's Greg Cosell explaining how Lamar Jackson is advancing within Todd Monken, the new offensive coordinator there, coming from Georgia. He's been in the NFL before, obviously, Todd Monken, but was most recently the OC at Georgia. Now comes to the Baltimore Ravens with a different challenge entirely than the last time he was in Tampa Bay as an OC, and has really started to see the fruits of their labor between Lamar Jackson and Todd Monken pay dividends. Now, the Ravens wide receiving core last week was horrendous. 3 really, really bad drops in particular. 2 of them could have been walk-in touchdowns for Rashad Bateman and Nelson Aguilar. So they are not without their flaws, but Lamar Jackson is not why the Ravens lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers last week, even though his stat line might indicate that he struggled. The Primetime Show is made possible by the great people at TrueMath Fitness in the Gulch. Go to TrueMathFitness.com. Your first workout is free. As a Middle Tennessee resident, TrueMath Fitness has all the options that you could want, whether you want to take their boot camp style classes, 40 minutes, morning, afternoon, or evening. TrueMav and their coaching staff will get you right. Personal training. Speaking of their coaching staff, I love their personal training. I work out with Worth Campbell, the owner of the gym. They also have a couple of other trainers there that are there to serve you should you seek personal training options, should you prefer it. And if you want to sign up for a membership, you can work out at the facility conveniently located in downtown Nashville in the Gulch whenever you like. TrueMathFitness.com. Your first workout is free. So from that standpoint, there's a lot to like about this game. I think both teams are in a pretty back against the wall situation. Titans definitely need it more. We'll see what ends up happening on Sunday, but it is going to be pretty interesting. Steven Snyder, 86, says, what time is the Lee Company countdown to kickoff so we can be up and ready? So it is, I think that Blaine, I will be up and at him. I will already be at the stadium. Blaine and Mickey, I think, will be on the air at 6 a.m. on Sunday morning, given that it's a 9:30 a.m. Central Time kick. So I'll do the first hour with Blaine and Mickey from 6 to 7. Kayla is going to do the half hour, the second half hour, or the first. So she'll do 8 to 8:30 with Blaine and Mickey is what I'm trying to say poorly. And then Titans Countdown will take over at 8:30, and you will hear Mac, Mike, Jimmy Wyatt, Rhett Bryan, myself, Ramon Foster on the pregame coverage from London, where we will all be. That will be a great time. Rising and falling, whose stock rose, whose stock fell this week in sports. there's no other candidate but David Njoku to go with. And if you've seen this picture, you know what I'm talking about. We will display that for you here in just a second, right after I remind you that the Primetime Show is made possible by the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. Go to GaryAshton.com. Get your dream address without the stress. The intel edge you need to succeed can be found at GaryAshton.com. Oh, did the Braves just get bounced out of their series? Oh, that's not going to be good for Will Bowling's mental health. If that is indeed the case. I don't know if they just lost I don't know where they are in their series. To be honest, I don't pay close attention to baseball other than I have it on in the background. So I know the Braves had a great comeback the other night against the Phillies, but did lose their first game. So it's best of 5 in the ALDS, if I remember correctly. You'll have to forgive me. My baseball knowledge is rusty. Either way, GaryAshton.com, the intel edge you need to succeed. Go to the official real estate agent of the Nashville Predators. That's the Ashton team. So Braves leading the series 2-1. Oh, I thought they dropped the first game. Okay. Well, interesting. Worth keeping an eye on. Then obviously Atlanta, one of the best teams in baseball this year, and Ronald Acuna having a historic season, but 2-1 Phillies. Okay. So Puka says Braves leading the series. David says 2-1 Phillies. So somebody is leading me astray here. I like I said, I thought the Phillies won game 1 and that the Braves came back spectacularly in game 2. But that's neither here nor there. Either way, David Njoku is the bounce back candidate this week because look at this man's face. He suffered significant burn damage a couple of weeks ago and then played in the game afterwards. Now, this is the first public image that we have seen after the incident took place. It was a fire pit incident. So he had the incident happen at his house more than a week ago. He's 27 years old. He was on their injury report before their week 4 game against the Ravens. He played through the burns. He got 6 passes for 46 yards in their loss to Baltimore. He wore a mask heading into that game that fully covered his face as he walked in the stadium, so you didn't see this. And apparently, this is the second picture that he has posted in recent days as the burns have started to heal. So he launched a clothing line and is now donating a portion of the money from sales to the American Burn Association. He wants to use his platform to help bring awareness, apparently, to people who deal with significant burns. So David Njoku, after this, I know that's a jarring image to look at, and it looks unreal given that it is Halloween time. But apparently, he is recovering significantly, and that is good to see. So stock up for David Njoku. I don't know if that's insanity or I don't know if that's insanity or toughness, but either way, good on him for playing through it in that game. It's going to do it for us tonight. So here's the deal. Primetime tomorrow, about 8:15 from the airport. So we will do the primetime show from the airport, and then the Titan Game Day morning in the 615 show, 615 Sessions podcast. We're going to do like a joint show. So instead of me doing the 2 separate shows, we're going to do one from London just because my schedule's all over the place. And Austin and Zach were good enough to work with me on that. So we will do that as a joint effort. You should get that on Saturday morning before the game. On Sunday morning. No, I believe they're going to put it out on Saturday morning. I think that's what Austin said. Either way, you will have a joint 615 Sessions Titan Game Day morning show in your podcast feeds and on the live stream from London as well. So coming back from London, Sunday night, obviously it will be way, way late London time, and I'll have an early Monday morning flight in London to catch. So Sam Thalen is going to host the primetime show for me on Sunday. So we appreciate Sam helping out there. And then Monday, I will be back to do the primetime show from London because I'm only going, I guess technically Thursday to Monday, but I'll only be there Friday night because I'll be in the air on Thursday night. So Friday to Monday, I'll be back. Quick trip across the pond to cover a football game, and obviously we'll have great coverage from there. If you're making the trip to London, we're doing the show at the Admiralty in Trafalgar Square. in downtown London. It'll be awesome. It's going to be a great time to do the radio show out there. We're going to have Coach Mack on, and you'll hear from Ryan Tannehill and Mike Vrabel because the Titans are practicing in London on Friday. And so we'll all enjoy that time together. Have a great rest of your evening. I will talk to you tomorrow from the airport on the Primetime Show. And radio tomorrow, I'm not on. I'm traveling tomorrow during the radio show. So Brad Hopkins, who I know you guys love, Titans fans, of course, love Brad Hopkins. Titans great. And Lucas will be me tomorrow. So he'll have Brad alongside, and you guys can enjoy a break from me while I'm in the air. And then on Friday, you can tune back in, and I'll be back live from London town. Have a great rest of your evening. I will see you next on, I guess, tomorrow night on A to Z Sports Prime Time. Oh, what am I going to end it with tonight? Colts or Mitch? Who's to say? Probably Mitch.
This is our Colts. This is our team. We bleed blue. This is our Colts. Whether win or lose, we love